all well on this Friday. As it's Friday, it is live album ranking. And today we've got a viewer's request from Mick, all the way from the US of A. And he asked me to do Grand Funk Railroad. So here we are. Grand Funk Railroad, of course, American rock band. Huge in the 70s. They have reformed and done little bits. Classic lineup of Grand Funk Railroad is, of course, Mark Farner, Mel Sasha and Don Brewer. Mark plays piano and vocals, Mel Sasha on the bass, and the brilliant Don Brewer on drums and vocals. They've only released 4 live albums, but they are all very good. Tough one this, because every album is great. There's not a bad live album amongst them. The sound quality is good, the rawness is good, the singing's good. It was just very, very hard, this one. I could have had them all equal first, to be quite honest, but I've done it this way. It could change, you just don't know. So, coming in at number 4, we have Live, the 1971 tour. Now, this was recorded over several performances in 1971, but was not released until 2002. So we've got Mark Farner, Mel Sasha and Don Brewer. And on here it starts up with a little bit of 2001. Can't go wrong there. Then we get Are You Ready? Absolute belter version. Foot stomping music. Pretty cool track. Paranoid. Not there. Well, nothing to do with, of course, Black Sabbath. I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home. Really good tracks. Hooked in Your On Love. Great stuff again. Get It Together. And one of my favourites, TNUC. Brilliant stuff. Then they go Inside Looking Out. A really good version of the Stones, Give Me Shelter. Into the Sun. Into the Sun. Hence the album. You know, as I said, just because this is at the bottom of at number 4 doesn't mean that it's rubbish. It isn't. It's great. It's just something about rawness from 1971, and it's a really good live album. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 3 is now a live album called Bosnia. Now, this was recorded in a benefit performance for the nation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. It was recorded on the 20th of April 1997 at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan. On here, apart from the band, we've got Alto Schaefer, Paul Schaefer and the Detroit Symphony Orchestra and Mr. Peter Frampton. The band did claim that this was released without their consent, but I don't know about that. So, yeah, the main bulk of the band is Mark Farner on acoustic and electric guitars. Keyboards is Howard Eddy Jr., Mel Sasha on the bass, and Don Brewer, as ever, on percussion and vocals and drums. So, as most Grand Funk's shows start, 2001, straight into rock and Are You Ready? Rock and roll soul, brilliant. Time Machine, great version of that. Then you get a little medley of Paranoids. Sin's a good mother's band. Sin is good in a mother's brother. Shall we start again? We get Paranoid, and then Sin's a good man's brother. Mr. Limousine Driver, Heartbreaker, Aimless Lady, TNUC, Looking Out, Inside Looking Out, brilliant. Shining On. Now they do a version of the Locomotion. I quite like it. We're an American Band. Absolutely sounds great after all these years. I know this is nearly over 20 years ago now, but it still sounded good. Overture, Mean Mistreater, some kind of wonderful to get back in. Bad Time, I'm Your Captain, Closer to Home, and Loneliness. What a show this was. There is a DVD out there of it, and I've seen bits of this on YouTube. It's an amazing show. They sound as good as they did in 1970, to be quite honest. Okay, they're a little bit older, but boy can they play. And this is a great album. Forget it was done in 1997. Check it out because it is absolutely awesome. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, then coming in at number 2 is live album. This was the first live album they put out. It was released in 1970, and the recordings were recorded in Florida between the 23rd and 25th of June 1970. Get a little introduction. You get Are You Ready, Paranoid, In Need, Heartbreaker, Inside Looking Out, Words of Wisdom, a little piece, and then you get Mean Mistreater, then you get Mark Says Alright, TNUC, and a blind blastic version of Into the Sun. 12 minutes worth of pure rock. Again, we have got an absolute belter of a live recording. It is a little bit better than the one that was recorded in 1971. It sounds a lot rawer, this does. It's an absolute belter again. When you put these on, you play them loud and proud because they just sound fantastic. Again, I love this album, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. So my number 1 is their second live album. It was released in 1975 and it was recorded in 1975, and it is Caught in the Act. Got Mark Farner on here. Craig Frost is on here on the keyboards. Love Craig Frost when he joined the band. Mel Sasha, of course, and Don Brewer, and we got the Funkettes backing vocals, which is Lorraine Feather and Yana Gigolo. Side 1 starts off with a fantastic version of foot stomping music, closely followed by rock and roll soul, absolute belter. Closer to Home, that's great, these tracks. Heartbreaker, brilliant track, brilliant singing on that one. Some Kind of Wonderful, Shining On, the Locomotion. It's a really hard rocking version on this album. Black Licorice, all the classics on here, the Railroad, and then we get probably the best version I've got of this track, We're an American Band. It is absolutely brilliant on here, the definitive version of that song. Also we've got the definitive version of TNUC on here, and then we get obviously the Animals song, Inside Looking Out. It's probably the best version they've done of it. Absolutely brilliant. And it ends up with a bit of Stones, Gimme Shelter. I really think this captures Grand Funk Railroad at their peak of magnificentness. The playing on this is fantastic. Don Brewer is absolutely on fire vocally on this. His drumming is brilliant. It is just a fantastic album. You get Craig Frost on the keyboards, who really added something when he joined the band. He's always forgotten about, but Craig Frost was an important member of the band. This is just an amazing live album. I played this quite a lot. It's the one that I really love from this band. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9.5. Well, there we go. It's a very short live catalogue, but a brilliant live catalogue. As I said, there is not a bad album here. I just love playing them because it's just basic hard rock and roll. Brilliant stuff. Okay, last show of the week this week is a new album review, and we're looking at another legend, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne, and his album Patient Number 9. So join me for that later. So bye for now.